on Skyhawk Sports Talk here at the Zaxby's in Martin, Tennessee on the Skyhawk Sports Network. Davis Gregory here with me, Chris Brinkley, joining us, our second student athlete to join the program. It is senior cross-country athlete and also track and field team member, Hudson Hall, senior from Valparaiso in Indiana. Thanks so much for joining us, Hudson.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
What class did we get you out of? We asked Kayla Carroll this last week. Did we get you out of any classes?
Since it's holiday today, we did
Oh, that's
not.
very true. That's true. It is Labor Day. It is Labor Day. Listen, I was already in the office this morning, so listen, I totally forgot it was Labor Day. So for you, track and field and cross country, which one is your favorite and why?
Definitely track and field. I'm more of a shorter distance guy, so I like the mile a bit better than running 5 miles on the grass. It's a bit harder for me, but.
We talked about you coming from Valparaiso, Indiana. What made you want to come to UT Martin?
I just saw they started reaching out to me, and I saw they were a really good team. I saw that a lot of the athletics there were growing and seemed like they were really good, so I thought I might try it out. I was originally at the University of Missouri, Kansas City, so I transferred here after my freshman year because they ended up cutting their program. So.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
What was your first visit to campus like?
It was kind of cold, actually. I expected it to be a little bit warmer because in the north it's always cold there, but I thought Tennessee was warm. But I came in January. It was a bit cold, and it was fun, though. I had a lot of fun with the guys, and, yeah, I was like, I think I could see myself going here. So.
Yeah, spoiler alert, it does get cold down here, too,
Yeah.
as well. For you and your teammates, you just competed in the City Auto Memphis Twilight Classic. And for you, how did you feel you and your teammates performed?
I think we did really well. We were up there with a lot of the big schools. We finished right behind Memphis, and a lot of our teammates ended up beating a lot of the bigger schools, such as Ole Miss or Alabama guys. So that was cool to see and race them. But yeah, we had a really close-knit pack, so that was really good to see. And yeah, that's what you want for cross countries.
Different start time, right? What was it like running at night?
Oh yeah, it was a bit weird. We have practice really early, around 6 a.m. So we just go to bed around 9:30 when we race at 10 p.m. So we were all like, oh, we should be sleeping right now. It feels like, but yeah, we got through it. So
just totally messed up the sleep schedule.
Yeah.
What was challenging about this event in Memphis?
Since it's in Memphis, it was super humid, of course, and also still somehow 85 degrees at 10 o'clock at night. So that was definitely challenging. But yeah, it was cool racing under the lights, so that was definitely a good experience.
Take us through your mindset, because in some sports you play defense, and in your sport it's just you. Where do you focus right before an event begins?
Just focus on pretty much just progressing through the whole race and not slowing down at all. You usually want to start slower than you're finishing so that you're not dying out there. And also just knowing that having your teammates super close with you, you know that you got to stay with them so that you're not like letting anybody down and keeping the score as low as possible.
Most humans, when you get tired or things get tough, we just quit. In your sport, it's the absolute opposite. When did you learn that quality?
I'm not sure. I kind of just always have had it. I've done swim and biked a lot and stuff since I was a young age, and I've always been very competitive and never really liked to give an inch to anybody else. So I guess that's where it came from, not wanting to lose to anybody, pretty much.
Your next meet going to be the John McNichols Cross Country Invitational a week from Saturday. So right now for you and your teammates, what's going to happen between now and then?
Just keep it consistent, keep everyone healthy, just keep working towards it. That one's going to be a more important one than the one we just had, but all eyes are still on October. These ones are just to get a good effort in, see where we're at, and compete against some good schools. Purdue, IU will be there, so it'll be a lot of fun competing there as well.
Going to compete again. You said EIU, one of the best teams in this OVC as well. Well, Hudson, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you.
And enjoy the rest of your Labor Day and the day off.
If I quit this season, I still be the greatest.
The Skyhawk Sports Talk Podcast is brought to you by Weekly Ford Nissan.
And next to me, head coach of the UT Martin soccer team, Mike Varga. Coach, we get into last week. Went and played big-time school Kentucky up in Lexington, 4-0. Kentucky won that one. And then yesterday, a very competitive match against Murray State, 2-1 going to the Racers. But your team really competed well down the stretch in that match and gave yourself a chance to win there before the final horn.
Yeah, obviously a frustrating weekend to come away with 2 losses. Even when we went to Kentucky, I think they're they're sort of in a rebuild at University of Kentucky, and didn't think we played particularly well. Sometimes you walk into those stadiums and you play against the name and not the team, and I think we did that at first. And so a little disappointed, even though we're down 1-0 at the half, and we gave up some set pieces that, corners, and those got us. And then yesterday, I thought a couple mistakes cost us. It was actually relatively pretty even game, and we kept fighting right to the end, almost tied it up. That would have been quite an exciting finish if we would have scored in that last 5 seconds. It just barely went over the crossbar. But no, it didn't give up, so I was happy about that.
And now going to be a very long road trip ahead. 5 straight road games. Starts with Indiana State and Northern Iowa. What's your message to the team as you all aren't going to be home until the 24th of September?
Yeah, you got to be able to play and compete on the road too. And this is going to be, by any stretch, this is a long road trip that's coming up this weekend. A lot of time on a bus with a lot of new faces. Sometimes these long road trips are good as far as getting to know your teammates and those sort of things. And the mentality is we're going to go play 2 pretty good teams, and we're going to try to get 2 on the road this weekend, and then we'll go to the next after that.
You mentioned bonding on the road, and when I talk to former athletes and they look back at their career, they always have these stories of things that happen on the bus or in the hotels. Do you do anything as a coach to help create that chemistry? Because that's truly when you're spending 24/7 with each other.
Yeah, I think we're pretty. We do look at who rooms together, and we try to make sure that it's not just the best of friends are in the room. We want to make sure that they're getting to know everybody on the team.
So does that change throughout each trip?
Yeah, it does. It'll change throughout. Probably not this trip, but throughout various trips as we go through the year. And then we'll do some things as far as team dinners and all those things that you do in the hotel, and we'll try to get together. And I don't know, they probably don't have, and there aren't a lot of traditions that I'm familiar with here yet, but we'll try to make some. And I mean, just sitting down in the lobby, what I found with women's soccer players is their free time is study time. So they're either in the rooms and they're down in the lobby with their books, looking at their engineering and all nursing and everything else, and I just stay out of their way when they start doing that.
Yeah.
So when you get to that point of building that team chemistry and bonding, and this group's been together for some weeks now, we've talked about how the seniors have taken on the young freshmen on this team and the newcomers and have started to bond with them. And how do you look them to take the lead as you all go into these road trips with their experience of being on the road?
Yeah, I think it's – these kids come into these programs with being well-traveled. Sometimes these clubs that they're playing, they're on the road more than we are. So that's nothing new. That I think that and they travel as teams. They get charter buses and they do everything that prepares them to go play at the college level. So I don't think it's anything that's really new for a lot of these kids, because that's what they've done. They go. Yeah, as far as mileage, they probably put in more. They're going across country, and they're doing all those things that you have to do. And the coaches are pretty good with organizing, recoveries on the road and all those sort of things too. So these kids are ready for these trips. For me, it's just make sure we put and Rachel, my assistant, does an incredible job of putting together our itinerary. That's if we get off a minute, she gets a little nervous about that, but she does a good job of planning meals and doing all the little things that don't stress the team is what Rachel does a good job with, and we just want them to focus on playing and focus on getting to know each other.
Being in a new conference, you're going to go to places for the first time this season. What's that like for you as a coach stepping off the bus? What are you looking at when you see a venue or a facility for the first time?
Yeah, I've never been to Northern Iowa, so not a conference game, but I've actually been to quite a few of the opponents in the OVC at different stops that I've had, but I haven't seen them recently. So it's learning, and I've actually leaned on the team a little bit about style. I've watched a lot of video from the last couple of years, but teams change so much. As we start to get geared toward conference play, I'll watch a lot of video from this year and see what it's about, and I'll ask the players that have been to these venues, what are some things that we need to be aware of. I obviously coming from Charlotte and then from Mobile, Alabama before that, we did not play a lot of turf games, and I think that's something we're going to be playing on turf a lot more. and being ready for that. It's going to be handy for us to go train on the football stadium here every once in a while, just because of the difference in natural grass and turf. But I also think that we have a team that's pretty fast, so I think the turf could actually be beneficial for us sometimes.
Go deeper on that. Explain why is turf beneficial for faster teams?
Yeah, I used to have a coach that said that the turf just magnifies everything. If you're fast, it makes you a little faster. It makes the ball faster. If you make a mistake, it makes the mistake a little bit worse. So it just magnifies everything. The ball rolls truer, faster. So I think fast teams that can move the ball, I think we'll have a little opportunity to exploit the turf. I think we did that our first match at Southern Illinois. We were able to play on turf in that game, and we actually looked pretty good.
And lots of opportunities created yesterday against Murray State. Rachel Okoro, Michaela Robinson, and others, they generated some well-formed chances. How are you looking to carry that into this week's play?
Yeah, I think scoring is we have players that are talented enough to score, and now it's that mentality, that hunger in front of goal of that I'm going to put the ball in the net. And we've had some good looks, and we've the first step is put them on frame, and then we need to make sure we don't just put it right at the goalkeeper, which we did a couple times. So we'll get there, and we have some young players. I think with this team, there's Mackey showed a lot of composure at the end there to get in behind their back line and slot it past the goalkeeper, and almost got the equalizer. So I think we'll continue to create chances, and it's just a matter of gaining confidence when we're in front of goal, because I think the other parts of the game are coming along.
If I quit this season, I still be the greatest.
The Skyhawk Sports Talk Podcast is brought to you by Weekly Ford Nissan.
Now joining us for the first time on the program, head coach of the UT Martin volleyball team, Jaclynn Wilson. Coach, Kayla did a fantastic job last week. Just wanted to let you know that.
Well, she enjoyed it.
That's
she
great.
enjoyed it, and she said she'd be happy to guest appear again.
Fantastic.
To her credit, she sounded like a coach when
She
we
did.
asked her.
That's what she
did.
said. That's what she said. That's funny. She's very mature. She's been in the program for a while, so I think she was a good representative for us.
Absolutely. Very, very well done by her. For you and your team, Coach, you come off the Dr. Mary Jo Wynn Invitational, 1-2 record there. Start off with a sweep of Arkansas Pine Bluff, then 5 sets. Very well played match between you all and Missouri State. They get the win there, and then KC wins in the final match 3-1. How do you feel your team competed this weekend?
I thought we competed great, to be honest. I think both of those matches we lost. We could have come out either way, and that's tough. I'm kind of trying to approach preseason a little different this year and just really focus on preparing for conference. And, we've played a tough schedule in this preseason. I don't think we've been in the same lineup more than twice. And, I think at times that could be sacrificing some potential wins, but I think it's really, really important for what we're trying to accomplish in conference that we're doing the things that we're doing. So I'm really focused on making sure, we're getting experience in both a 5-1 and a 6-2 offensive structure, and trying different pieces and making sure that everybody's getting experience in this preseason. So when their numbers called during conference, that they're more prepared. But I felt, those 2 matches we lost, I never felt the energy coming off the court. It never felt like we were losing. And that's definitely something different than in years past, where we were a little bit more emotionally, up and down. And I feel like we've been a lot more stable this year.
You say that Coach Kevin McMillan always says if you lose in the non-conference season, but you learn something and your players get experience, it's a win. So the outcome's not necessarily a win or a loss. So is this a different approach than you've taken the last couple of years?
Definitely. And I coming into the season, that was kind of something the captains and myself talked a lot about. Just the season as a whole. One, we wanted to try to enjoy the process a little bit more. And for me, I think the more experience I've had, I've learned that, your body of work in conference is where our focus needs to be. And we believe in playing a really tough preseason schedule, and we've done it since I've been here. We opened up at Tennessee. UT Knoxville just went 5 sets with the number 1 team in the country. So they're playing really great volleyball. We lost to Texas State, and they just upset the number 13 or number 15 team, Houston, in the country, and we scored the same amount of points as Houston did against them. So there's some good takeaways that we're seeing. You never want to lose. We're all competitive, but I do feel, playing the schedule we're playing is really going to help prepare us for conference.
One of your returners for this team, Dylan Mott, earned a spot on the all-tournament team. 42 digs for her, 4.67 digs a set, and 7 assists. What have you seen from her in the early parts of the season?
We really challenged Dylan this weekend. I'll be honest, she didn't play libero all 3 matches this weekend. We had a newcomer, Josie, play our first match, and we were really happy with her body of work. Her play in the gym, Josie Hess, she's defensively probably our quickest reactive player, just touching the most balls defensively in the gym. Now Dylan has just more solid ball control as far as her serve receive, her out-of-system setting, and her leadership skills on the court. She's been in that role for several years now, and so I feel like it's a comfort for us. But I thought it also pushed Dylan outside of her comfort zone, which is what we've been challenging her to do for years. And that's why I think it's important that you've got good competition in the gym. We've got Kayla Carroll, Josie Hess, and Dylan competing every day in there, and they're all 3 seeing the court right now. But when Dylan played this weekend, I thought she did a phenomenal job.
How rewarding is it for you as a coach to push someone out of their comfort zone and they respond?
It honestly, it kind of makes you mad, but it was awesome. I was really, really happy to see, we know what Dylan's capable of. And prior to college, she kind of played in an outside position. Undersized for sure at this level to be an outside. So I feel like her defense has kind of always been black and white. And in that other color jersey, it's not black and white. We want you, that mindset of everything is yours. And we've seen glimpses of just greatness out of Dylan over the years. But I give her so much credit when she wasn't in that role. She's a captain as well. She was the person I heard over everybody on the sidelines, and she really is just a calming factor for us in that leadership role. And I felt like when she was given the opportunity, she excelled.
You all head this weekend, or rather this Thursday and Friday, to the Music City for the Lippy Invitational. Lipscomb on the 7th at 6, and then Kansas State at 6 on the 8th. What are you all working on to prepare for these opportunities coming up?
Each week you had mentioned if you lose a preseason game, if you learn something. And I felt, undoubtedly both our first 2 preseason weekends, we have come home with a very specific 2-3 things that we need to improve on. And for us, after this past weekend, I think, 2 of the biggest things, and we were working on it in practice today, is our out-of-system game. That was one of the first teams, UMKC, that I felt were more aggressive out-of-system than we were. And I never want to feel that. So that's something we wanted to kind of get back to the drawing board and work on our attacking out-of-system, and then 2, our defense against out-of-system. And I believe in general, and some of the best coaches in the country has said, the best out-of-system team wins. And that's both, I think, on the defensive end, being able to defend the out-of-system and be able to fire away. So I think that's our goal to see improvement going into this next weekend.
Absolutely. And one of your players that stepped up this year, Kayla Bryant, currently leading the team in kills with 64. What does she bring to the table for this season and moving forward?
Kayla's coming in a great place this year. I think, she was a freshman last year, and I've just seen a lot of maturity growth for her on the court. She's going to be in a big role, 6 rotations on the court. I think these preseason matches, her getting this much experience and playing time, you're going to see just even a whole nother level out of her come conference, because she needs this time. And we're setting her more than anybody. We're setting her front row, back row, and I think she's handling the load very well. I would like her numbers to be a little better. I'm not overly concerned, because I think right now the reps is what she needs in real game time situations, and that's what she's getting.
If I quit this season, I still be the greatest.
The Skyhawk Sports Talk Podcast is brought to you by Weekly Ford Nissan.
Now, alongside head coach of the UT Martin football team, Jason Simpson, as the Skyhawks ready for their home opener against Missouri State. But, Coach, we're going to first take a look at last week. Went up against number 1 Georgia, 48-7. The Dogs win that game, but the game was 17-0 at halftime. And anyone who watched this game from start to finish knows that Georgia got nothing easy from you all, and you all competed to the full capacity.
No, I agree with that, especially defensively. I'm very. We can go back and watch the tape. Well, first of all, how it felt in the game. I felt like, especially the first quarter and second quarter. Every yard was earned by them. Thought we played extremely hard. I was telling somebody, on the bus on the way home. You're trying to get some rest, get ready for this week, and the highlights, of the game, obviously of Georgia, scoring or something, I guess I saw them 10 times, right? Because nobody got up and changed the channel, so we're all laying there trying to sleep. And every time they would say Georgia, I'd open up my eyes and look and see. But still, what I was encouraged about was, I was telling the coaches, hey, you recruit well, so you've got guys that can run and compete, even with the top levels in college football. And I was seeing our guys still, white helmets come flashing across the screen and stuff. And so I am encouraged about that. I thought there was a lot of physicality that was shown in that game. And even though offensively, the game was called very strategically to try not to put us in bad situations. I mean, what you couldn't have, and unfortunately we had a few with some penalties. We had 10 penalties, but you couldn't just really take a lot of calculated risk in that game. The risk was going to be the sacks, okay, because that's where the mismatches really come into play, is their pass rush, okay, and so it's hard to flip the field, and so without those big plays, even though 5-yard gains were few and far between, they were still those were well executed plays. And so when you go back and watch the tape, from the game Saturday, you see an offensive line that I thought competed well. I mean, it really did, guys. You'll see there was hats on hats. There was some movements. I thought the backs ran hard. There were some things that we did in that game that gave us a chance, and but then there's some things that we control, no matter who we were playing, that one, let the game get out of hand. Two, prevented us from moving the football a little better, and then getting a few more stops on defense.
Coach, I'm super encouraged and already like this team just based on that, because you're obviously an underdog going into that game, and we've been in this situation before. You don't ever let the game be bigger than you. And my goodness, if you didn't know who was wearing what uniform, I don't know at times if you knew who the favorite team was. And so your mentality going into it was to win the game.
No, and that game's kind of, it's different than the Knoxville game from last year. What I mean by that is, we did fairly well in the run game last year, but in their type of passing offense with all the grass, they really can separate from you their receivers to RDBs. Well, this game was set for us. They're a run play action team, Georgia is, and we did fairly well early the first 2 quarters in that run game. Really the whole game, to be quite honest with you. I think, what we end up giving up, 150, whatever to them rushing.
It wasn't as much as they're used to.
Yeah, now 400 yards passing, is where. But when you're committed to stopping that run, there are some things that put you at a disadvantage. But no, I agree. You could feel a good vibe on that sideline. You could feel the physicality. You could feel maybe some of Georgia's frustration. I think they had 4 3-and-outs. Okay, I'm encouraged with that. I'm encouraged that twice they had 10-plus play drives, but we held them to field goals. So that's okay, first of all, what did we do to not be able to get off the field in 10 plays? All right, those are things you're trying to correct. But, hey, the character, the toughness, the competitive spirit to be able to hold them to field goals, I like that. Okay. They were 5 for 5 in the red zone, okay? But, there's still some silver linings, some things that we can build off of, with those things.
And on special teams, Aiden LaRosse, he had a great day. 8 punts, an average of 50 yards. Longest of the night went 66. What was it like to be able to have a guy out there to flip the field?
No, Aiden helped us. Good. He really flipped the field for us. That was something that was crucial throughout that game. That kept us in the game. Him flipping the field, and our snapper, Kick, coverage unit, protection unit. I thought they did a good job. Unfortunately, he had 2 touchbacks on the 2 kickoffs. So 2 out of the 3 he did quite well. Of course, he made a PAT. I think the snap was a little low on the field goal. If he makes that, I would tell you that's about as good as we could ask of him.
What's his backstory?
It's got, thank goodness he's here, first of all. But, he went to Charlotte. I think he walked on at Charlotte. He's from South Africa. I think he told me the story maybe 9th grade, maybe a year earlier or so. They moved here to the United States. His family did, and I think obviously was a soccer guy and converted that at UNC Charlotte, and looking for an opportunity for a scholarship and to play, and we certainly had that. And we wanted to be able to bring another punter in, to help him take some of the burden off of him, and didn't actually work out. So he's doing all 3 again for us.
And in that hostile environment, Kincaid didn't. His collegiate debut as a starter, he operated well. What did you see from him?
No, I would tell you this. I agree with that, okay? My confidence grew in Kincaid, okay? I mean, he's a great kid, smart kid, tough, okay? But, it's our first game together. I thought he handled it really well. There's a couple things he's going to see on tape today and be like, oh, okay, and that will register, that will hopefully we will reap those dividends, this week. But, that's the first, even though you're a graduate, even though you're a 5th-year guy, okay, when, and he was in an SEC school and hard to get, a lot of snaps, it's still different. Hadn't started a game since high school. Okay, so in 4 years, this is first game going on year 5 that he started a game, and it feels different out there than it does practice and stuff. And so, that was some things I was asking him. During the game, we'd say, okay, this happens, this happens. Get some feedback, and but I made sure to ask him, are you having fun? What does it feel like to, all eyes are on you. The whole team, goes through that quarterback for us, and so I think he had a good time with it. I think you'll see better in the weeks to come.
And this game this week against Missouri State in the home opener is really going to slow down after it was so fast facing this SEC opponent. And now you're going to be able to, not to discredit anything Missouri State does, but compared to Georgia, this game is going to slow down a whole lot this week.
Well, I certainly agree with that statement, but I will also say this: we'll have to get back to being more balanced. Now, even though we had 31 attempts, now there was only, like I said, 2 or 3, true 6-man protections dropped back and throw the football, and only 1 or 2 play actions, that we pushed it down the field, trying to just get first downs was the game plan here. So the game plan will be different this week. Game plan will be more normal of what we do, and so those will be some firsts for him. Okay, and obviously, I hope he plays extremely at a high level, but I know there's still a learning curve. There's a learning curve with the receivers. Things that we know when Tank and Zoe are out there, there's some things that they've been with us for a long time. Okay, and then when we the other unit that went in, though, be honest with you, actually had more production. Okay, Asa, Marlon Cook, Sean Hardy, Nebraska transferred. They're big bodies. They're strong. We started getting the ball on the perimeter. They block well on the perimeter. And we were able to put some first downs together. So, we're going to have some good competition going. We've got to kind of get that unit a little bit more solidified. They need to help us this week.
Jason Simpson is the Skyhawks ready for their home opener this Saturday under the lights against a familiar opponent in Missouri State. This is going to be the 3rd time the Skyhawks have played the Bears in the last 3 years. 2021, you got them in the first round of the playoffs, Coach. And then last year, very competitive game in Springfield that the Bears were able to win. And this is going to be the first time that they've traveled down to Martin since 2007. They've got a new head coach, Ryan Beard, former defensive coordinator as Bobby Petrino went to Texas A&M. What are the Bears bringing into Martin, Tennessee this Saturday?
Well, first and foremost, the quality football team, part of the Missouri Valley. So this is a big opportunity for us. This is kind of a regional, somewhat national FCS game that people will pay attention to, OVC compared to Missouri Valley. When you watch them on tape, statistically they're 0-1 just like us, but both playing Power 5s. But that game against Kansas is, I don't know, was it 17-10, 24-10 or something in the fourth quarter? And then game got away from them like it did with us. So, they've got good players. They've got a new coach staff. I like Coach Beard. He was the defense coordinator the last 2 years, and good young bright coach. And I haven't really dug into their personnel as deep yet. Just right now, looking at the X's and O's as we get ready to go to Monday night practice. But glad we're at home. The last 2 times we had to make those road trips. So, even though we're at home, that's great. But like I was telling you, there's still 11 guys on offense that this will be their first game at home. 11 guys that you'll see play a lot. We played 30 players on defense. Okay, we only traveled 33. So, that's encouraging. Okay, I think offensively we played probably 22. Okay, so that's probably more players than we played in the years past. So it's kind of good news, bad news. Good news is that tells you that we've got some depth. Okay, right. But the bad news is we don't have polished depth yet. There's no Colton Dowell that you're putting out there that's playing the whole game. There's no Peyton Logan. Guys that can play on first down and third down, depending on blitz situations and packages and stuff. So that's what we're striving to get to. Some more continuity, some more, and we got four non-conference games, guys, before we move, before we get to that conference. You want to win them on the way. You want to play well. But that's what my ultimate goal is. At these 4 games, be ready to go for that conference slate.
And I want to encourage our community and our fans, people watching, people listening. It's a great experience. You've got some of the top athletes in the country. Graham Stadium's a wonderful place to be, and it's a good place to take your family and have a nice Saturday.
Well, you and I are certainly biased, but I believe that.
I do too. Absolutely,
it's good, cheap entertainment. A couple things. One, guys, NFL scouts come through here, weekly.
Absolutely.
To check on these players. So you get an opportunity to see guys. Hopefully you followed us and came and watched us when Rodney Williams is on the back with the Steelers. Jalen Moore still on the injured reserve, and of course Colton Dowell, and then the 2 kids in Canadian League. So you're going to see some good players. Hopefully some players that go in and play. And, the next thing is, if you're a sports fan, it's quality football. Watch the game that you want to. The other Power 5 games you want to keep up with on your phone these days, right? You don't have to just be in front of the television. And the next thing is this, okay? Here in West Tennessee, right? I mean, we need you. We don't have 100,000 people, just in this town. This university does something for your business, okay? We appreciate you, okay? But being at those games and bringing your family and your friends to those games, okay, it all works, hand to hand, because I'm going to have recruits coming in.
Yeah. And
their families are going to come in. And so when they see a great game day atmosphere, right, maybe we get that young man, he decides to come to UT Martin, or maybe his sister, sees a great game day atmosphere, or a little brother and decides to come here and major in engineering and looks in our other quality programs that we have. So to me, it all works together, and we want to be first class in everything and be great, okay? It starts with different functions that we have, and so hopefully we'll put a good product on the field for you, something to be proud of, and it'll be a great day.
Before you and parking is easier than the bigger
Oh,
schools,
yeah.
and you're going to be closer to the field, and our players and coaching staff are accessible.
Well, you know what? You know what? If you need me to pick you up on the way to the game, I'll be glad to do that too. Now, hey, I don't think Kirby Smart was great, but I doubt he would drop by your house and pick
Coach
you up.
Simpson will Uber anyone who wants to come to the game. Coach Simpson will be your lift to the game.
I love it.
Just give him a phone call. Coach, again, atmosphere, always I feel like it's been great here for week 1. And I want to go back to what you said about your players, some of them on offense. This is going to be their first time playing at Hardy Graham Stadium. For you, just getting them, what's your message to them as they get set for this first home game and they're adjusting to all these firsts?
That's I don't know if I've got to that point yet, but it is something different. The walkthrough schedule, the pregame meal stuff, that's things I've been doing for 18 years. Okay, those are things that Dresser Wynn did with me for 6 years. Okay, you didn't have to have those conversations, but you do. You got to make those, you address them early in the week. Okay, and those become minimal. All right, but we play well here at home. I think we've lost like 1 game in the last.
That's 2 seasons, only 1 game at home.
Something like that. Go back to the 20 season. I think that was the last time I think we maybe lost 1 game since the 20 season, something like that. But our winning percentage here at home is very good. I'm proud of it. We take a lot of pride in. It goes with, hey, Walmart's the Martin Mall, right? Okay.
I remember you telling me that.
Right. I've said it 100 times. Okay. We make, the kids may complain that they can't get the type of shoes that they want there. All right. but they don't let anybody else make fun of it,
Yeah.
okay, or rag them about that, all right? And so that creates, you don't want to come in your Hardy Graham Stadium and play us type mentality. Now you got to go do it. You got to play hard. You got to play physical, and we got to eliminate mistakes that we made last week.
And this week in practice, you obviously have told us you haven't gotten into really the details of what Missouri State brings. But for you all, what's the focus as you head into this home opener?
This will be different, okay? Last week it's always about us, okay? We'll start with that, okay? And there were some things that, that we didn't take care of us last week, okay, especially on offense. Well, now, and last week wasn't a huge game plan deal, meaning this is first game of the year. Has Georgia changed a lot of things, whatever? So, I didn't want to go down the rabbit hole of as people say, like chasing ghosts. Well, what if they do this? Well, you got to check to this play. What if they do this, okay? Especially in a loud, hostile environment. Okay, well, now you're at home. So now there will be some more game planning because we both played a game, so you both got some tendencies and stuff. And that's a challenge for us, all right? Normally it's not, but it is with a new quarterback and for him a new system, okay, as we adjust to him and he adjusts, to our terminologies. So I think that is something different, for us because it's a more like a true game plan week, okay, as you tried to. I mean, let's face it, we were not, against Georgia, we were not saying, okay, who's the weak link?
Right.
No, we're trying to survive and just put hats on hats and be very basic and we did that at times. Okay?
And stay healthy too.
Yeah, that never comes into play. But no, as far as keeping your quarterback upright, no, 100%. Get how fast can we get the ball out and get him to the next play and get him to this week. So this will be a true game plan week. So that'll be a little bit different. They'll be a little bit more mentally, on the quarterback and the players. We've got a lot of guys on defense dinged up. If you saw that injury report, there's about 9 to 10 guys on that list. Okay, now that doesn't mean they're out. So the challenge will be for this group, and some of them are new guys. Hastings, is the first one that comes to mind. Okay, plays really hard, plays really physical. Okay, so now we've got to go to practice this week. Guys may be limited in what they can participate in, but yet get a game plan in. Get healthy guys ready to play, but yet guys that you hope that are back by Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, get them ready to play as well. But yet, like I was telling the staff, but yet you've got to, but you can't just. Everybody's going to be sore. You're going to be sore the rest of the season. You're going to have nicks and bruises and whatever. But if Bart says he can, go as he feels like it, then you need that guy to go. All right, because nobody's going to be 100% healthy, even during practice.
If I quit this season, I still be the greatest.
Back on the Skyhawk Sports Network for our final segment of the show. Davis Gregory here with me, Chris Brinkley. Now all of our coaches up here.
Everybody, we're having a big party.
Yeah,
here.
we got head coach Mike Varga from the soccer team, Jaclynn Wilson, head coach of the volleyball team, and then coach Jason Simpson of the football team. Got one question teed up for y'all. One final question. We bothered y'all enough today, but one final question.
Coach Simpson, you're going to go first.
Yes.
Yep. Coach Simpson goes first. We'll go to Coach Varga, and we'll save Coach
We may get
Wilson
a special guest to come
following.
up here, too.
Maybe.
Okay.
Maybe. So the question is, if you all were guaranteed a national championship, that one main ring that you won on your finger, a national title, but the only downside is you could never coach ever again, would you take it? Coach Simpson, you lead us off.
No, I don't have to think about that. I mean, if that's, you're coaching to compete. You're coaching, but if just winning a championship is the only reason you do it for, right? You're going to be miserable for most of your career.
That tells me you love coaching. Thank you, Coach Simpson.
I got no other skills.
Yeah.
What happens if one of them answers a different question or a
okay.
different answer?
Yeah,
Well, I mean,
okay.
I guess they still will love coaching. Coach Varga, go ahead.
Yeah, true.
Well, definitely. If you ask me that maybe in 10 years, then maybe that's the one to drop the mic right off into the sunset and put my feet up on the beach. But no, right now, there's so much more than that. It is a tough question because that's ultimately what everyone would love to do. But there is so much more of why we do this. And the big thing for me is, and I've been asked this so many times of, if I won the lottery tomorrow, what would I do? And I would coach college soccer. So I couldn't have it any better. I wouldn't stop.
There we go. Coach Wilson?
I'm going to go the unpopular answer here and say, mic drop, I'm done. I'm going to set the stage. UT Martin at Nebraska, national championship. We win, confetti falls. I'll get a ring, I'll go be a mom, and maybe join the country club.
Hey, that sounds like a good plan. That sounds like a good plan. We've actually got another guest joining us, Coach Tony from the cross country and track and field team.
Yeah.
Your thoughts here on this question. Would you stop coaching if it guaranteed you a national championship?
National championship sounds great, but I love coaching, and one of the main reasons you coach is to give an opportunity to people to change their lives, to get a college degree, to make lifetime friends and family, and see the world, see the country, whatever it may be. But I think being there and giving that opportunity for years and years and years, like, that's what I want to do, even if it's at the cost of a national championship.
But I can see the other side of it.
But they all gave the politically correct answer.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
And if I were trying to get hired somewhere else, that's what I should say.
No, thanks for your
But-
very, very.
Are we negotiating a little bit now with this national championship?
Maybe a little bit. We might change the stipulations and the terms there a bit.
If I quit this season, I still be the greatest.
The Skyhawk Sports Talk Podcast is brought to you by Weekly Ford Nissan.